Greetings and salutations all. Welcome to another edition of Spinistry Chat. Today we're going over the route overview for the Midnight Massacre, and we'll have some bonus content at the end for those that are looking for some dirt and gravel routes, how you can utilize the Spinistry Routes library to accomplish that. But to start things off, we're going to show you how to get the Midnight Massacre routes to begin with if you haven't accessed them already. And these are preliminary routes. They're always preliminary routes until they're actually marked and finalized. If you are a registered participant, just go to the Midnight Massacre sign-up page, which is what we have loaded on the screen right now, and scroll down the page, past the description, past the contact info, past the event overview video we did previously, and there will be a link for route details. It says you must be a participant to view this content. If you are a registered participant, you'll actually be able to click on that link and open it up. It'll give you some details and a link to access the routes that you can download to a navigation device, or if you don't have a navigation device, we'll also give you free access to the Ride with GPS navigation app. We definitely suggest GPS backup for everyone. Always have the route available on GPS. Yes, we're going to be marking these routes, but things can happen. Arrows can come down. Arrows can get turned around. Rider can ride by with their head down, miss an arrow or whatever. Please do have the routes on GPS as a backup. It'll make everybody's lives easier and happier. But this is all three of our routes. We have a 35, a 55, and a 75-mile route. We are doing this one a little bit differently. The 35-miler is going to, for the most part, be its own route that stays on the west side of I-35. The 55 and 75 milers will share most of each other. The 55, except for that one blue bypass you see towards the east end, is pretty much the same as the 75-mile route. We had to do it a little bit differently this time so that we could get as much gravel in the mix as possible for the 35 milers. If we would have shifted them towards the east side as well to get that shorter route, it would have been just too much of a ratio of paved roads to unpaved roads for our liking. So that's all three of the routes. We'll look at each one of them individually very quickly, and then we'll move on from there. We're going to start with the 35 miler, but there's important information that we'll go over for the staging, parking, check-in, and things like that that applies to all the different distances. We will have another video later in the week for final notes and a little bit more detail. So please do put comments or questions on here, something we maybe need to go into a little bit more in depth, and we'll address that in the later in the week video. But in the meantime, we do want to give a quick shout out and thank you to our friends at Insurance for Texans. These guys have been awesome to us over the years. I consider Ron a true and dear friend. Ron Wadley, the owner, the principal of Insurance for Texans. Paul and Brad are fantastic partners of his. Seriously, all of us have to deal with insurance stuff. It's part of adulting. Next time yours is up for renewal, just reach out and say, hey, what can you do for me? No obligation. And they'll, if nothing else, they'll give you some really good information on how you can maximize what you have with your existing carrier. Thank you again, Insurance for Texans. Now we're doing a quick glance at the 35-mile route. But what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on Valley View proper and put it on satellite imagery, because this applies for everyone. We will be staging from the town square in downtown Valley View, but there is not enough parking there. Parking will be on the south end of town in the athletic field parking lot. Please, please, everybody do park in the athletic field parking lot. Don't play this game that you're going to pull up. Oh, I'm just going to check in. I'll go down to the parking lot afterwards. And hey, lo and behold, your car's still there right at start. Please don't. Help us out. It helps the town out. It helps us out. It helps you out. Please do park down at the athletic field. And if that happens to spill over, On the other side of Lee Street, you can start going into the high school parking lot as well if needed. Right here in the square itself, we'll have the gazebo on the northwest corner. That's where we'll be doing check-in. And the finish line will be coming through there as well. Now, I want to make a quick note on this just to make sure everybody's on the same page here. The Midnight Massacre, it's about good times. It's not about racing times. The Midnight Massacre is not a race. There are no official times. There are no official rankings. There are no podiums. We don't even know what distance anyone is riding. We will be checking in and handing out number plates so that we know who's off of the course at the end of the night. So everybody will be starting at the same time. We're slotted for a 6 p.m. start at the moment, but we'll be having riders meeting approximately 15 minutes before that. So allow yourself enough time to park, come down to the staging area, check in, get your number plate. If you ordered a t-shirt, those will be coming in the mail. More than likely, 5:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, August in Texas, it's probably still going to be hot, okay? Don't waste all of your water bottles on your bike or your Camelback just hanging out in the town square before the start. So if you need to bring an extra sipping bottle from your car to the check-in area just to sip on a bottle or something like that, be sure to do that. Everybody should be prepared to go at least 30 miles at a time with their hydration. All of the routes will just proceed straight out of town and catch the first dirt road about 1.5 miles out of town. Go south from there. And the 35 miler will keep going all the way down here and take a turn to the west. The other routes will take a turn to the east, down about this 5 mile mark, somewhere in there. All these routes are pretty flat. The 75 miler has a little bit more hilliness to it than the others, but generally speaking, pretty flat. The 35 miler does go through the town of Era and a Valero station at mile 21. If you're not able to carry enough hydration with you, nutrition with you to go the full 35 miles, realistically, even when it's 100 degrees out, if you're a gravel rider, if you're an adventure rider, you should be able to go 3 hours plus on what you can carry on the bike. So what we're doing this time for the 35 milers, we're not putting out a specific water table for you folks. We're going to encourage you to carry enough water to go the full distance. Realistically, 3 bottles on the bike should be enough for most people to go 35 miles. If you're not comfortable with that, find a way to carry a 4th bottle. A couple of bottles in jersey pockets and a couple bottles in bottle cages, that can do it. If you have 3 or 4 bottle cage holders on your bike, fantastic. Easily accomplished. Want to carry a Camelback for a little bit? Hey, fantastic. That's part of adventure riding. That's part of gravel riding. Figure out how to carry everything you need. Just in case something goes wrong at the mile 21 mark, there is a store along the way. If you drop a bottle or if you need a little more, looks like you're coming up short from your plan, there will be a store as a backup along the way for the 35 milers. And then when you roll into town, we will have cold drinks on ice. We'll have cold beer on ice. We'll have snacks for everybody. There will be hamburgers for sale at York and Ale. Unfortunately, Avalanche Bay Pizza no longer exists. They went out of business just a few short weeks ago. That actually caught us a little off guard. We were planning on them being available. Thankfully, Big Pig Cancer Foundation has stepped up to help us out, and they will have barbecue available on a per donation basis there as well. So between our snacks, our cold drinks, our cold beer, we'll have water jugs at the finish area, York and Ale burgers, and York and Ale will be selling their own beer, Firelight Vineyards and the winery, Whiskey Hollow Distillery, and Big Pig Cancer Foundation barbecue. It's a recipe for a great after party as well. So that's the 35 mile layout there. Let's look at the 55 miler. Again, down here at about mile 5 is where that goes to the east. And the way we have it set up here, bear with me. Let me put my old man glasses on here. We have your water table a little bit over 28 miles in. So again, plan to carry enough to go 30 miles. And then quickly, the 75 milers. Your first water table will be around mile 26, between mile 26 and mile 27. And then you will have another water table. It's the same one that the 55 milers will be using. So 55 milers, don't wipe out the water table. You got 75 milers that are coming after you. Don't take a bath in the water. Don't take the top off and pour it over your head. Don't take the top off and stick your dirty, filthy, muddy paws in there with a water bottle to scoop water and ice out. Please don't do that. 75 milers, again, will have your second water table between mile 47 and mile 49. And then everybody again finishes in Valley View for cold drinks, etc., etc., etc. Again, big thanks to Big Pig Cancer Foundation for helping us out. So that's the quickie overview. Again, leave comments and questions. We'll fill in the blanks on our final notes video later this week. And then the bonus content I was touching base with, those of you that are interested in finding routes in general. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, we have, for Club Spinistry members, we have a route library of over 1,000 routes. Most of them are in Texas. The vast majority of those in Texas are in North Texas and North Central Texas. But we also have routes Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, bunch of places. But definitely the biggest lump we have is in Texas. What's been going on over the years is lots of our dirt road routes have been paved over, or large swaths of them have been paved over. So what were fantastic gravel and dirt road routes a few years ago might just be really cool paved routes now. I bring that up because this route library, there's no way for us to update it day by day and say, oh yeah, this one's 90% gravel and 10% pavement. And it is on Ride with GPS, and Ride with GPS does have a surfaces tool that supposedly indicates percentage of pavement. Don't use that, at least not in Texas roads. It's completely worthless. I love Ride with GPS. It's a fantastic tool, but that surface type indicator it's absolute trash. I bring all that up because people have been coming to us the last couple years. You know, I went to this route you had in Lockhart or whatever, and you know, that's a crappy route. It's all paved. Well, it's all paved now. You know, things do change. What our recommendation is going to be going forward is to just always access our newest routes. And I want to show everyone how to do that. If you're a Club Spinistry member, you can go to the club sign up page and scroll down, and you click on a link, and it will add you to the Club Spinistry route library on Ride with GPS, and then you will have access to all of these routes. And as you can see, there's just tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of them. And what I'm showing you now is what is available to all of the club members. But you'll also see some of these routes haven't been updated since 2018, 2019, another 2018 there. My recommendation is to come over to this updated tab, click on that. So you see, okay, so the oldest routes we have in there now are showing March of 2016. Click on it again, and it's going to show the newest routes. And right there, the 75-mile Midnight Massacre, 55-mile Midnight Massacre, 35-mile Midnight Massacre, our planned lake effect route, other things. And some of these are event routes that we've used. Some are just club rides. Some are my personal rides, things like that. Generally speaking, the fresher the date, the newer the updated date on it. Hell of the North Texas in Paris just a few weeks back. These are going to be the most current routes. Anything you see realistically that's over 6 months old starts getting a little iffy these days, but still probably you'll be good. Anything over 2 years old right now, I would take with a heavy dose of salt as to whether Even if it was an event route of ours that was 90% gravel 3 years ago, it could be all paved now. Texas is just growing so fast. The population is booming. So what were desolate back roads, country roads, dirt roads not too long ago are starting to get paved over and turn into subdivisions and stuff like that. So just a quick tip there. If you want to find our most likely to be good routes, current routes, just sort by most recently updated. And we're actually going to be adding a lot of new content to that for club rides and club members specifically, not just for the events going forward. If you're not a Clubs Ministry member, we will have these, the Hell of North Texas ones will be available soon, as will the Midnight Massacre. Those routes will be available for a nominal charge for non-Clubs Ministry members. Realistically, it just makes all the sense in the world to become a Clubs Ministry member and get all the routes for free and the discounts to our events and a lot of cool stuff we have coming with our partners in the not too distant future. So, thanks for hanging in there with us, and we'll see you Saturday at the Midnight Massacre.